All right. Hello, everybody. Again, this is Tom Randall from GoldenCare. I shouldn't say again. I couldn't get on for some reason. I had a little glitchy there, so sorry about that. I will want to welcome you to this webinar today. This is part of our Integrity Short-Term Care Initiative webinar series. And I usually am joined by my partner in crime, Dennis Reiner, and I got caught up in a phone call actually with Dennis a few minutes ago, and then I tried to get on and had that little bit of delay. So I apologize about that. Dennis won't be able to meet with us today. He's out on the road and he ended up having a meeting rescheduled. But it is my pleasure today to walk you through a little bit about plan design. These are the fun webinars when we get into some of them that are just talking about overall product that ends up where, you know, we have to know what the products do, but it's kind of fun to get in and talk a little bit about plan design. So I appreciate you guys' patience while we got a little bit of a late start here by a minute, but I will walk you through. And if you haven't been on our website, we have the Integrity STC website, and we have all this information. And I want to kind of keep this reasonably down, so I'm not going to go through this, but the need is definitely there. And when I show you that website, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor and go on, and we have all the different recorded sessions. And when we started doing this webinar, we did 30 of them originally, and now we've done 48 this second time around. So this is something that we always stress, the fact that how important it is in America today, because we have so much gray hair with the baby boomers, et cetera. So we've got what we call a perfect storm in the next 7 years or so, that we definitely know that people are going to turn their heads and they're going to need to know about extended care. And so check out those other videos and we go into a little more detail on that if you need a refresher, or if you've never been looked into long-term care or short-term care or what we call extended care. Okay. If you've been on any of our other webinars, you know we talk all the time about the biggest ability of some of these plans, their availability, right? So I'm going to show you availability maps here, and we show those on every single webinar, just about, if not every one, because that is obviously one of the important things, is which state they're approved in, et cetera. So as we get into this, when we talk about extended care, and there's lots of things we spend time with, but I'm going to be very brief today because I want to get into some of the case examples. But we talk about the fact that really when you look at extended care, there's been a shift in the market. GoldenCare has been part of having designed the Mutual of Omaha long-term care plan. It's went from number 10 to number 1 in the nation because we designed the plan knowing what was going to really hit and what was going to resonate with consumers. And we're glad and proud of that. But the long-term care market's been shifting, as you know, from introductions and a lot of our other webinars. So now we really have to stress short-term care plans and these home health care only plans. And we're going to talk a little bit about, you know, why short-term care is a terrible name. I'm going to try to be brief there as well. But at the end of the day, there's two types of plans in our Integrity Short-Term Care Initiative that you need to be aware of. And first are these home health care only type plans. And with those, there's really, really loose underwritings, you'll see in a second. And there's limited benefits. And because of the fact it's home health care only, no facility benefits. And some of those plans have more limited on the home health care aid. So with those plans, it's really easy to get it. And the net is thrown extremely wide. And the plan availability is pretty good with those plans. Those are the GTL home health care only plan and Manhattan's Home Care Select, which is home health care only. Then we have a non-insurance plan. If you go on our training, you can get product training on any one of these, and I'll show you the website at the end too. But basically, these are all real strong options for all your clients. And the best thing about True Freedom, remember, greatest ability of some of these plans is their availability. If anybody on this phone call is writing business in some of those states that won't look at other home health care plans or other short-term care plans, you'll see that slide in a second. True Freedom's great because it's available in all 50 states. So I literally can get on the phone, whether I'm selling life products, med sups, anything else under the sun, I can get on the phone and say, you know what, as long as you're not presently receiving home care or you're not needing help with activities of daily living, right? And you don't live in a facility right now getting that care, you know, at the end of the day, we can get a plan that's going to help you. We got something that's out there that'll help you. So it's one of the great things about this, and True Freedom's a really strong plan. We have a training this afternoon, as a matter of fact, on True Freedom in just a couple hours. Okay. So that's our basic plans. You're going to see how easy that is and how wide that net's thrown. Then we have our full, large, comprehensive short-term care plans in our initiative. And that's great because those plans, do a better job. They're obviously have much more comprehensive benefits than the home health care only plans. But because of that, obviously, there's got to be protection for the carrier. So there's more underwriting questions. And again, nothing at all close to what you're used to or what our long-term care specialists are used to in the long-term care arena. But it is certainly more questions than what you'll see with the home health care only. Okay. And we'll get into that a little deeper in a second as well. So the highlighted comprehensive short-term care plans we have in this Integrity Short-Term Care Initiative is what you see on the screen. The Manhattan's Omniflex Short-Term Care Plan for Manhattan Life, Wellaby, the newest comer in the industry, Wellaby's Essential Care Plans, and then the GTL Recover Cash, which is another plan that does really well and's been around a long time. Okay, so again, product availability, you'll be able to see this on the site. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but here are our comprehensive short-term care plans first. GTL Recover Cash is in the most states. I'm not going to walk you through all the colors. Omniflex is available next most because it's been around longer. A couple more states are coming on board in the next couple months. We've got what do we have? Oregon and Rhode Island coming up pretty quick, hopefully by the middle of December. We'll let you know as soon as those are available. And then Wellaby's Essential Care just has 10 states to start with, but that's just because they're newer coming into the scene. So though they will obviously be expanding these as we get into 2024 as well. And we'll keep you posted on that several different ways. Okay. Then when we get to the home health care only plans, you can see here, more of the map is covered. GTL again has the widest reach, then Manhattan Home Care. They just did a really nice upgrade on the GTL's home care only plan that you can hear in our product training. And then Manhattan Home Care Select is their newer version, and they have the existing version available in a few states as well. Those will probably transition over, I would assume, exhaustively at one point where all these states will move up here, but maybe some of them won't for some reason that the state has a problem with. We'll keep you posted. True Freedom is that non-insurance product that's a prepaid home care membership type plan like AAA. That plan is really strong. And the best part about that, again, look at all these blue states. These are those states. I happen to live right in the middle of one where they just don't want to play ball. They're afraid that they're trying to quote unquote protect their consumers in that state because they're afraid that people will misrepresent what these products do. So they don't allow short-term care products in some states. Our lobbyists are trying hard, and some of our key agents are trying hard to talk to legislators to say, you're hurting your people because they can't get long-term care because of their health. It'd be nice if they had some other options. So we are doing our best. Minnesota's getting close. Florida's getting close. But some of these states will never do it out east here. And California are tough states to turn heads with. So let me jump right in. Let's have some fun here now today, because that part of it we know. And again, it's such an important part of it. But at the end of the day, the services are no big surprise for you folks, right? People get older. We have a lot of gray hair in America. And at certain points, they're going to need help with those activities of daily living, like bathing, dressing, etc. They may need assisted living or skilled nursing as well. Now, again, that sounds a lot like long-term care. And I want to make sure you guys realize that don't panic about that, because we also, with short-term care, one of the things that's nice about it is that it's really broad reaching, right? With short-term care, they just can get claims easier than they could with long-term care. They just need to have help with activities of daily living, but it doesn't have to be for 90 days like the old long-term care plans did or do. And for that reason, you're going to have things like hip replacements, knee replacements, surgeries, minor fractures, things that, especially as you get a little older, they might put you down and say, yeah, I hit the claim triggers. I need help, but I don't need help for, a year. I just need help for 30 days or 40 days. The nice part about these plans, as you'll hear in our product training, is that they are very flexible and they can come out and help you with those shorter term, and then they can restore benefits, et cetera. So very strong as far as that goes. But at the end of the day, you guys know all this stuff. It's all on your website. It's in the brochures. Cost of care isn't cheap. When I was in this business 25 plus years ago, we were all saying, boy, it cost you almost $30,000, $36,000 a year. Now it's very expensive, as you know. Even down in the home care arena, right? You can see the home health aides, which are the least expensive probably and the most common, but those might not be as expensive. They might be $30, $50 an hour, depending on where you live. But a home health aide who comes in for 3 or 4 hours adds up. And then when you see over here on the physical therapy and occupational and certainly RNs, nursing is very expensive, as we can probably imagine. So those are rising all the time. As you guys know right now, especially medical costs are getting out of hand in America. So the nice part about these plans, again, I always remind people, these are not expense reimbursement plans. These are indemnity plans. So if you hit the claim triggers, whatever amount of benefit you have in any given day, it'll pay that full benefit amount. So let's imagine that we had a home health care aide who only came in for a couple hours. Let's say it was $100 for them to come in that day, or $169 if you want to see what's on the screen. And you had a $300 per day benefit at that point in time when you went on claim for your home care. It would pay the full $300. If you had a comprehensive short-term care plan, it would pay the full $300, and you'd have that extra money to put away for a rainy day. So again, based on all these things, it'll cover a good part of the cost or some of the costs. One of the other things we stress is that you don't have to cover all the costs, right? Don't get carried away thinking I have to design Cadillac plans for every single person I talk about. It's one of the keys with designing plans effectively for your clients. Remember, these plans, it's easy to go on claim, it's easy to get restoration, but you don't have to go out and cover every dollar cost. Now, part of that, and I'm going to zoom through this super fast, so don't panic. You'll see recorded sessions that you can go in and hear all about what I'm showing you right now. But today, I just don't want to spend the time on this webinar, spending a lot of time on this. All I'm trying to show you here is that here happens to be Omniflex, but all these comprehensive short-term care plans have a facility side and a home health care side. And that's one of the things we say when we say short-term care. We use extended care when we're in the sales situation. Why? Because some people think short-term care, if you were to ask every American on the street, a good percentage of those adult Americans would say, oh, short-term care plan, that probably covers what, 30 days when you get out of a hospital or something. They don't understand what short-term care means. Short-term care was named that because long-term care had a definition at the federal level for tax reasons, right? So short-term care just means it's not a long-term care plan, basically, right? So I wanted to show you here when we talk about packs a punch, short-term care plans, we use extended care because look at this example right here. This happens to be Omniflex, but again, some of the plans are just as big on the other short-term care plans. But I could do $400 per day. That's 12 grand a month. That's $144,000 for the facility for one claim if I did a 360 day. And then the home care is in there too, right? $300 per day that's $9,000 a month, $108,000. So if you add those up, and that's another thing people don't realize when they first get involved or hear about short-term care plans, a lot of claims, if you had a catastrophic injury, you might have a progression of care where you start out at home and then have to go to a facility or vice versa. So in this case, without inflation, you could have $252,000 for one claim. All right. The number below it in blue, that's just saying if you put inflation on there and we doubled those numbers, if you had inflation, which a lot of these policies have, you could have $504,000 for one claim. Okay. And when we talk, you'll hear me talking once in a while about $1 million policy. Because these policies restore so often and so much, this could potentially, wouldn't happen every time, and it certainly wouldn't happen all the time or a majority of the time, but potentially for what you're paying, you could get $1 million policy. And the nice part about that, without the inflation, $90 a month for a 55-year-old. If you're selling Medicare, it'd probably be close to twice that amount, I guess, if I look the numbers for a 65-year-old, but still for $200 a month, that's not a bad deal for a $500,000 potential claim payout. Same thing with the inflation for the $1 million policy, potentially $504 per claim, $163 for a 55-year-old. So you can see that it's very strong with what these plans could do. But the most important part for you to know as an agent, as we talk about designing plans, number one, in the sales process, you'll hear us use extended care, not short-term care. We obviously will explain it to people as we make a sale that don't get scared if you see the word short-term care. It's still the same plan I sold you. Secondly, you don't have to sell that plan I just showed you. You don't have to sell every dollar of protection and charge that much. You're going to see one of the biggest things about these plans is their availability and their affordability. So you're going to hear the fact that we're going to say, make sure you make somebody feel comfortable with the premiums that you're offering. And again, trust me, flexible, flexible, flexible. These plans you can design to be very, very low key and 25 or 50 bucks a month, or you can design a more robust plan that's going to cost more, but it'll cover them for a really catastrophic care. Okay. So when we talk about availability, what's the next thing we always talk about is the biggest ability is availability. So it's underwriting. I need to know my plan's available in a certain spot, and then I need to make sure I can get a plan in place based on their underwriting. You'll hear us in our sales talks all the time saying what? You almost buy these plans more often today with your health than with your checkbook. That's a big tagline used in long-term care and extended care, especially because of the fact that you do have to make sure these carriers will accept them based on health. Now, the good news for some of you, you don't have to do what I'm showing you here. We have this tool available on the website. I'll show you where it is. And in a nutshell, what this tool does, it has every single question and every single med that you'd be asked for all these policies. For sure, every question that they'd be asked on the apps or in the underwriting guides. And then you can do a search by keywords, and you can ask your client, do you have any major conditions in the last 5 years? And again, you can go in there and you can use this tool if you wanted to. It's a living, breathing tool that changes if any changes come in the industry. You can put in what state it is, and then you can put in what meds if you want or what conditions, and it'll show you exactly which plans of all of our integrity, short-term care, extended care plans are here. It'll tell you which plans they qualify for. Okay, so you can use that, but what I want to make sure before some of you start falling asleep or hanging up or saying, oh my gosh, it looks like I got to get a medical degree. I promise you this is super, super easy to use, but you don't have to use it. That's the next thing I do as a takeaway. Because you as agents, the number one thing we need you to do is step out of your comfort zone. You got to start the conversation. Listen to any one of Dennis and I's sales training, and we say the biggest problem for you is most agents don't ask for the sale. They don't ask the question, right? So whatever product you're selling, we always say before you close the sale or before you finish your business that you do every day, you look at your clients and say, oh, before I let you go, Jim and Betty, I want to make sure you have your extended care taken care of. That's so important these days. Do you have a policy? And again, I'm not going to go into our sales training today, but that's what we talk about on those sales webinars, is talking about ask that simple question. That's how easy it is, because most of the time they'll look at you and say, yeah, I got it taken care of, because they want to get rid of you because they don't want to spend more money, or they're typical Americans, right? They don't want to really talk about something they're uncomfortable with. So it might be a smoke screen, and you're going to say, oh, you do? Great. I'm so glad to hear it. Which company do you have? And then they're going to come out and some of them will say, wow, I actually don't know for sure if I have one. What is this all about? A lot of people won't know what you're talking about. And again, we cover that. So now we got the need started, the conversation started. Then when you talk a little bit in our sales process about it, the underwriting comes in as part of that process, right? When we do our 5 steps of the sale. And the underwriting, remember, is super easy. That's the part I want you to know. Remember, we talked true freedom, all 50 states. And if you're not presently needing help with activities of daily living, or you don't think you're going to need it in the next 90 days, that's kind of their suitability. You can go ahead and put that policy in place. And again, it's not an insurance policy. It's a prepaid home care plan available everywhere. That's how loose the underwriting is to start with. Here is the older non-revised GTL short-term home health care. So some of the plans still have the older version of GTL. So I just have this in here to say, are you currently in a nursing home or assisted living? Or are you needing help with activities of daily living? And then if you get their most robust plan, it'll say, in the next 60 days, do you have to be admitted to a hospital or healthcare for surgery? Okay, or healthcare services. Okay, I kind of mumbled that through, but basically I didn't want to read it to you. Same thing here on cognitively impaired. That is a question for GTL as well. Or are you cognitively impaired? Again, look at that. You know what? If you answer yes to those, you got to stop. But if you answer no to those, you can get a policy in place for that GTL short-term care only, right? Next one, same thing. This is their new app. We used to always say it's only 2 questions to 3 questions. Well, their new app is the exact same. just about, but it broke it apart into 4 questions. So don't panic. First one says, are you currently living there? Second one says, do you need help with ADLs, activities of daily living? And the next one says, in the last 12 months, have you had cognitive impairment? It stretches that a little bit to talk about Alzheimer's, et cetera. Okay. Here's the same question for option C that you saw on the previous screen. That's how easy it is to get a GTL home health care only plan, you guys. So if you go to Manhattan Life Home Care, not as strong a plan as GTL because they don't have the home health aid for the full amount of time you'll learn in our product training. But again, you might just use the app and say, I like Manhattan Life. I sell a lot of products with Manhattan. If you want to do the home health care only, you don't need that InstaPivot tool, right? You don't need that tool I just showed you that goes through all those questions. You can look right at the app. And once you have that app in front of you twice, you'll memorize this going, oh, this one just says the same thing as the other one. Do I currently live in a facility, or am I getting home health care right now? Or am I unable to perform activities of daily living? If you say yes to those, you can't offer a policy. If you say no, you can. Piece of cake, right? But those are home health care only plans. They're not as robust. They're very affordable. They're really great because people can get them. But what you're wanting to do is go out and sell one of those comprehensive short-term care plans, because those plans do a better job of helping your clients at the time of claim. They'll thank you for it if they can get it. So now you're not going to ask your client the questions I just did. You're just going to know in the back of your mind, if they have some of these other conditions, I can pivot and always give them a home health care only plan. Remember, I'm not going to talk to them about some of our plans are better, some are worse. I'm going to say, you buy these policies more with your health and your checkbook. Can I ask you a couple questions about your health? And we have all these tools on our site to help you. Sorry, I've been on the phone or talking all day on webinars, so you can hear me chugging water in the background. Anyway, the next thing that they're going to do is they're going to say, I could just use an application. The first one we have is Omniflex here. I'm not reading this to you, so don't panic. Okay, you can use the InstaPivot tool. You can have your networker, the marketer who got you on here, help you make the decision of whether your client's going to approve ahead of time. But I can actually go through right on the phone and say, let me ask you a couple health questions if you don't mind. Have you been to the doctor in the last 5 years? I'm scribbling notes down if they tell me about some things. But look at how easy this is. This is their knockout questions. You all know the AIDS questions from other app policies you probably sell. Okay. Second one, are you currently on Medicaid or Medicare due to disability prior to 65 or disabled? Pretty wide net, right? Next question, are you currently receiving, there's those good old activities of daily living. Are you currently receiving home care or confined to a facility? Sounds just like the home health care only, right? Then it goes a little bit further because these are comprehensive plans that pay more benefits, right? Are you currently being treated or diagnosed for, and these are major conditions, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's stage 4 or 5, Huntington's or a cognitive impairment. That's pretty close to what you saw in the home health care plans. Then it goes a little bit further and says, are you a diabetic with complications? Okay, then they're going to get a little nervous because people are going to need help, right? Second one down here, again, I'm not reading every part to you, but are you receiving treatment for diabetics with heart failure? Again, in the past 12 months, have you been advised to get treatment that you're just holding off on? Why did we put that one in there? To protect the carrier, right? So that they don't pay claims for something when somebody knows I've got a major condition, I'm going to need major surgery in the next year, so I better get a policy, right? That makes sense. Finally, down here is the cancer question. So if you get yes to these, any of these on Omniflex, you couldn't get a policy, but guess what? If they can answer no to these, you can get them a plan that has both facility and home care protection. So very strong and easy to use. Part 2 questions, if you looked on the app or on the e-app, this is to find out if you can get a full-blown $400 per day plan, kind of like the one I showed you on that Packs a Punch slide. And that, again, I'm not going to read this to you, but this just says, in the last 2 years, have you had any of these other major conditions? If they answer yes here, they're not knocked out. It just means that they can't get a full-blown plan. They got to be limited to $100. Okay. So all I would do if I were you guys, I'd have my app in front of me. We have it available for you. And as you're having a conversation and you've developed the need a little bit, I would casually say, have you been to the hospital in the last 5 years, or do you have any health conditions that stand out? And then if they need prompting, you can read some of this, but most of the time they're going to let you know and say, well, yeah, I do. I have diabetes. Oh, do you have any problems with that? It's very conversational. Then wait till you get to the e-app to figure this part out, because this is something you can do ahead of time, or you can do it right with your client and say, I got to ask you a couple more detailed health questions. And that will be right on the e-application most of you'll use. We have training, guess what, on how to use the e-app for all these carriers. So it's very simple. I'm going to go through Wellaby quick. I'm not showing prejudice towards Omniflex. I'm just saying you can do the same thing with the Wellaby application here. So for time's sake today, I'm not going to go through that, but it's the same deal. They have two-tiered underwriting with Wellaby as well. So some of the questions will be, can I give you a policy at all? And then some of the questions will be, how big a policy can I get you, right? So that's the availability as far as I didn't put, by the way, I didn't put GTLs in there for time's sake, but you could use the GTL and say, I love GTLs, Recover Cash. I use theirs as a prompt to see if they can get a policy, okay? So enough of that part. So we know availability is where it's approved. And then we know that availability is, can I get them through underwriting? Again, super easy. Don't get scared by that. A lot of people in long-term care, we have 2-day training sessions on how to figure out if people qualify. And some of those underwriting books for long-term care are 40 pages long. Here, simple, simple, simple. It's what they write on the app. Don't read into it. Read it exactly as it sounds and answer the questions the best you can with your client, okay? So easy stuff. Now, we know the availability, underwriting availability, and then what? Affordability, right? So now, just to show you, one of the things we talk about in our sales deals is just getting a broad idea, right? Talking to your client, you develop the need a little bit, you turn their head, you talk about the fact that you buy it with your health more than your checkbook. Now, have you had any major health conditions? No? Well, I'll tell you what, I want you to know that we can design plans that are more robust, that are going to be there for you for really long, hardcore claims, or we have some that are super affordable. And again, they're all good. It's just, I don't want to sell you something that you're not going to be able to afford and you're going to panic about later. I want you to have peace of mind when you put your head on the pillow. So sometimes agents will use a broad thing like this. We have this chart, probably the identical chart you're seeing, that we have a call center that sells hundreds and hundreds of these apps a month already. And the way they do it is they say, you know what, you're 65 years old. We have what we call our classic plan that's really popular for $50 a month, $55 a month. And that's $100 a day facility and home health care. We got it down here showing married rates, et cetera, for Manhattan. We have rate charts like this that we're in the process of designing for you folks for all the different carriers, et cetera, that'll be a little more intense if you want to do some pre-affordability checks, okay? So you can see here, $55 a month. We've got a plan that obviously you're going to be stronger, $200 a month for $200 per day. And that's $107. Or for a couple $100, we can get you a really strong plan that's $400, $300. So again, very common. This is mainly for you to get a feel for where we're at. Most of you are writing of Medicare or life policies to 60, 65-year-olds. The beautiful part of these plans is long-term care runs for the hills once you get past 65. Boy, it gets tough. We're in the middle of it. We have written $1 billion of long-term care. Our agents know it's tough to get a 70-year-old approved for long-term care these days. They're going to have some health conditions most often that make it really, really difficult. Most of the long-term care, they don't write 80-year-olds anymore, right? They stop them younger ages. These plans you can write at all different age groups, all the way up to age 99 for our prepaid home care plans. So all those are available and you can do it. You can see over here, it can get really expensive, but some people who are not healthy enough to get long-term care, loving this. And these are, again, the short-term comprehensive plans do not go up in age brands as they age. They stay with what the policy premium is that you're right. Okay. So that was a good introduction, and I'm sure it drove you nuts getting to the thing and saying, let's get to the heart of it, Tom. We have been getting to the heart of it because everything I just said is the main meat and potatoes of how to design and choose a plan. Availability state-wise, availability underwriting-wise, and affordability. are your main things you're going to look at. Some people will get a home health care only plan, even if they're a little more healthy, because they're not going to want to spend a lot of money. Some of you are writing MA plans on this call, maybe, and some of those folks are saying, "Hey, I want to write $20 worth of premium a month max." Guess what? You can make it happen with some of these home health care only plans, and even something like Omniflex with a short-term care plan. So very inexpensive if you need them to be. Okay, finding the niche. Let's look at a couple case examples. Here's Dave. Dave purchased traditional long-term care several years ago and had a 90-day elimination. And he provided care for family members' auto accident. He realized that, boy, that 90 days added up, right? 90 days, guys, remember what that is, the elimination period. With long-term care, 90 days is by far the most common that people bought, and they still buy. 90-day elimination. Why? Because when you go on claim, you have to have a doctor say you're going to need help for at least 90 days. So 90-day eliminations are pretty common, all right? And those plans are much more expensive than short-term care plans. So real common, you'll have a 90-day elimination. But guess what? If you start writing a plan at $100 per day times 90 days, added up, that's $9,000 out of their pocket before their plan even shows up. So what we have is agents like you sometimes who say, before I leave you, Dave, do you have your extended care taken care of? Dave says, yeah, I do. Well, actually, oh, great. What do you have? I got a long-term care policy with this company called Mutual Omaha. And I bought it several years ago. My health isn't as good anymore, but I do have a 90-day elimination on there. And I checked into it, and there's no way I could go out there and get another policy or add on to that one. So I know my 90-day elimination might cost me some extra money. So what happens? I can say, well, great, keep that policy, whatever you do, Dave. Even if they have some rate increases, those are usually worth keeping. But what we can do is I can complement that plan with a really nice short-term care plan to complement it with first aid coverage, so that if something happens to you, and because it's short-term care, I can almost say when something happens to you, Dave, because these plans pay claims as soon as you need help with activities of daily living. So you might have a hip replacement, knee replacement, or surgery or something like that that you're going to need to have this short-term care plan kick in. So these plans kick in right away, and they're easier to get the benefits. And I can give you a plan. Guess what? This happens to be Michigan, age 65. So if I did a plan, even at $100 facility benefit, this is a limited plan for Omniflex. So the net is super wide, easy to get. It's very easy to get a policy. $100 per day, 90-day benefit, just a 90-day to cover that elimination period. First aid coverage, both ways here. Home health care coverage, I'm going to do $100 a day with first aid coverage again. And if you looked at that plan for just those 90 days, that's a beautiful little thing for $21.55 a month. Now I'm going to jump out of here and show you something. This plan, again, I'm not pushing Omniflex as much as trying to fill a need. Here's Dave, 65-year-old, so you know I'm not playing games with you. Excuse me again on the drinking. $100 day plan, 0-day elimination, 90 days. Remember, Fast 50, I can have family and friends help me at half the benefit. But what I really want to show you is right here. Remember the prescription drug benefit. Go watch our training on these policies, you guys, and you'll see that this Omniflex plan comes with, like the home health care only plans come with, a prescription drug benefit they can use right away. So Dave, is that his name, Dave? Dave is out there. I think it is David. David's out there, and he can't qualify probably to upgrade his home health long-term care plan or buy another one. He's got some health conditions. So you look at that, he's probably got a shoebox with some meds in him, right? If he does, it just helps you sell the plan, because now you say, Dave, I can get you this plan for $22 a month overall, right? Here's the overall plan, $21.55, but that doesn't even include this built-in prescription drug benefit that says, guess what? I can save you $25 a month or $300 policy a year up to that amount. The average 65-year-old in America, guys, has 27 plus either prescription refills or new prescriptions every year. And that's a very well standardized stat out there. Some people have tons of meds they're on. I'm 58, and I've got 3 meds. Think about that. 3 meds that I refill every quarter. That's 12 different ones right there. So if I had 12 $25 brand name prescription, if all of those were brand name, I'd get my $300 back per year, right? $25 per month, that averages out to 300 divided by 12, right? So if I get that 300 divided by 12, $25 per month, guess what? My policy's free. You really think about that, right? $21.55. There's a one-time $25 fee that's not showing here, but basically I'm getting a very, very inexpensive policy that's going to save me how much? Tell you what, it'll save me more. It'll pay that 90 days that I had on my elimination for my plan. So I'm just showing you the power of this with really little plans. Sometimes that's all you need to make your client look at you like you're a hero, right? Okay. Let me go back to the next one, Barbara. And I have 4 of these, and I'll go through them quick, so it's worth your time to listen. This is Barbara, and she's in pretty good health. She wants to plan ahead, and she wants a really nice, strong, robust plan. So with hers, we're looking at a 65-year-old single non-tobacco. I just happen to be using a couple first from Manhattan, then I use the other carriers, so I'm not just showing Manhattan only. 65-year-old single non-tobacco, $400 facility benefit, 360 days. This is that full-blown plan. I did put a 20-day elimination on the facility to save a little bit of premium dollars, but I could have put it 0-day and it wouldn't have been that much more. But in this case, we used 20. And then I have a strong home health care, 360-day home health care, first day coverage. And again, look at that. That's a super strong plan. That's that plan I showed you on These Plans Pack a Punch, right? This is that plan without inflation. So it's $193 for a 65-year-old. And that thing for $200 a month, she can afford it because you know her through her other experiences. And she's saying, yeah, I really would like it, but I know I can't quite qualify for long-term care. And again, it's a huge difference on the underwriting, you guys. I can sell a full-blown plan with this, and it's way cheaper than what or way easier to get through the underwriting. So Barbara, I don't probably need to show you this, but I'm just showing you I'm not blowing smoke. There's the 400, 360. And here's the 65-year-old Barbara for $193. Okay, one-time $25 policy fee. It's only paid the first year. Okay, so very, very inexpensive, as you can see there. And again, she's going to love you forever, because if I were to go sell this plan to a 65-year-old for long-term care, if she could get through underwriting, guess what? This plan outperforms the long-term care even if she could have got through underwriting. If I was going to design a 2-year plan, I would tell Barbara, you might want to buy a short-term care plan, because it does all the same things long-term care does, just about, and it's way less expensive. And more importantly, you can get through the underwriting. Okay. So again, I don't know if I blow this up, but I will, just to make it easier. Next one is John. I'm out there meeting with John. He's part of that sandwich generation. He not only raising his own kids, but he's also caring for his aging parents. And he's had some difficulties with the caregiving himself. So he knew that he didn't want to delay finding an insurance solution. So when he was searching, he really liked that $3,500 one-time cash benefit and caregiver resources that GTL's Recover Cash has. So again, if you go to our product training, they have something called T-Care built in, which helps caregiver burnout. And it also has a one-time $3,500 lump sum with those GTL plans as well. So if I look at this, with a 45-year-old man, single $200 a day facility for a full year, and a 360-day plan at $1,200 home health care per week. That's the way the GTL plans work, $1,200 per week. If you need care 3 days in that period per week, you get the full $1,200. Okay, so you can see here, if we're using GTL, the nice part about this plan is he's 45, and the reason GTL, remember, Omniflex, for example, has a rider in it, or a built-in benefit in it, that says we can pay family members. That's on an ongoing basis, that Fast 50 I talked about, and you'll learn about in the product training. That's stronger probably than what GTL has as far as paying family members. But the nice part about this is he's looking for a plan that has really strong inflation protection. So this one, he's only 45. he knows those rates are going out there where the costs are going up. So he said he wants to cover himself by saying, I want to have compound inflation on this policy as well. So if you look at this and add it up, it's $34 a month for the home care, for the facility, $200 for a year, 20-day elimination. Home care that could be on top of that or right after that, I should say, $1,200 per week for a full year, first day coverage. With the inflation of $61 on that, there's 46 plus 34 plus 61. Plus they have a little ongoing annual policy fee for GTL. You can see there it's $144.95 per month. So if John can afford that, he's loving life, because what happens with compound inflation, everybody, you guys are our sharp group, you know that compound inflation is going to change this facility benefit over here, and it's going to double that $200 every 14 years. So he's going to have really strong inflation with that side. This plan does not have the inflation on their home healthcare rider. So make sure you go to our product training and look at your brochure to know that it doesn't do that for the home care. Omniflex does have inflation, simple inflation, and so does Wellaby. That'll grow both, but he was looking for compound for the facility side. Okay. And again, in fairness, I'm going to just jump over that really quick. There's John's quote for GTL. And again, we have training on how to do all these quotes. There's a recover cash, $34.27 plus $61.82 for the inflation. And then the home care is down there at $46.76. The $2.10 monthly policy fee, that is ongoing with this plan, not the one time like the other. This one is $144.95. So again, every plan is going to be different for whoever you're designing it for. And we'll have examples for you to show the most common types of plans. But I just wanted to show you for John. That was a great opportunity. Okay. Now, next we have Joseph. And again, Joseph probably be our last one we show. We might do one more. But Joseph, you're out there. Looking at my time. All right. Joseph will be our last one. Joseph had a TIA or a stroke, right? Transient ischemic attack. So this long-term care, as you know, they're running for the hills. Well, they don't want to hear anything about strokes. But in this case, he had a TIA 18 months ago, which would make obtaining coverage elsewhere difficult. Even in the comprehensive plans, it's tough to get a plan that has those different things covered. So in this case, he was really glad to hear that he had Wellaby Essential Care Plan. Remember, the Wellaby plan has dual underwriting. So in this case, he can get a really strong limited plan. Now, the reason I'm showing you this one, if you go into our product training, we talk about, remember, Omniflex? Omniflex is one of the go-tos. It's super strong. But if this case with a TIA, they can still get a limited plan for Omniflex, but it only goes up to $100 per day for home care and $100 per day for facility. With essential care, even with that TIA, you'll see that they can get up to $150 a day home care and up to $250 a day. So in this case, definitely a clear choice here if you wanted more robust coverage would be the Wellaby plan. So you can see here, the essential care plan, $150. This is their limited plan. The Essential Care Plus is their full-blown one that goes up to $500 per day for facility and up to $400 for home care. But in this case, you can get $150 for a full year, 20-day elimination, and you can get nursing protection for $250. So you can see here, with that, they can even get the inflation protection on that, and that would be the inflation protection in this case for the home care side of it. He could also get inflation protection for the facility side, but he chose not to in this case. So you can see here a really nice plan. And again, they don't have illustration software for this. They have a quick quote that you can use, and it's $178.34 a month. We just use their quick quote. And if I wanted to show you that, I probably have it open somewhere, but I don't know if we have time or if I need to do it. I'll pull it over. All right. If it didn't go to sleep on me, in this case, it did go to sleep on me. So this is a different one up here. So I'm not going to show you today, but it's super easy to use this. Put in their date of birth, and then you can show the examples. Okay. What I was showing you on that next one, that was actually the example on Jean and Mary. And this Jean and Mary quote over here, this says Jean is now uninsurable, basically. he's already at the point where he's going to need really good care pretty quick. So he's not currently getting care, but he's going to need it any day. And with that one, you could go over and show a Wellaby plan with their limited pay rider. So today, for time's sake, I'm not going to go into it. But one of the biggest differences out there with the Wellaby plan is that you have the ability to go out and show people a policy that has plan for the main caregiver. This is actually that case. So I can get an essential care plan with nursing facility coverage, and then I can put a limited care rider on the uninsurable spouse of $100 per day for 180 days, and it's a 90-day elimination. So it's not a super powerful plan, but I'll tell you what, when you can't get anything else, that's a really nice plan for the couple to get a full-blown short-term care comprehensive plan plus a limited rider for the uninsurable spouse for $245 a month. Okay, so that's what that was. And I know that all happened fast, but you'll see it on the end of on the recording. So I'm starting to babble because I know I ran out of time here and I don't want to shortcut you guys. I'm going to look really quick. Which is best for the state of California? Michelle, great question. Unfortunately, this is it is being recorded. Somebody else asked, but for Michelle in California, the best case scenario, one of the biggest abilities of these plans is their availability. So California does not allow short-term or home health care only insurance plans, but they can go out there and they can get the True Freedom plan, which is available in pretty much everywhere. So True Freedom Home Care Service is available in all 50 states. As long as they're not currently getting help with activities of daily living, they can get that plan. Okay. So I know you probably have other questions. It's probably drinking out of a fire hose for some of you first time around. But I'll tell you what, the key to this is, remember, I'm going to say it again, repeat it again to train you well. The number one ability of these plans is what? Availability, right? If I was sitting in live, I'd make you answer that. Biggest ability of these plans, availability, and that means where they're approved by the state, and it also means where they're available for your client. So if I go here, the last thing I'm going to do, and I'll let you go, is integritystc.com. Don't forget that, integritystc.com. Talk to your marketer, get appointed for all of these plans. Omniflex, Recover Cash from GTL, Wellaby. Here's our home health care only plans we just talked about too. Those plans are all available as part of our short-term care initiative. All the sales and marketing things you'd ever need are available on this site. So if you're first time on this webinar, stick around for one more minute and I'll tell you, you can go on here. And remember, I had to skip my intro today because I knew this would be a long webinar. There's 46 different things that you can go to that are all of our full-blown training. So you'll learn about each one of these products. You'll learn about how to start the conversation. You'll learn about packaging short-term care with life if you wanted. All of these are worth a listen if you want to roll up your sleeves and help people. And I tell you, I can't stress enough, everything you need is on this site to have you be successful. The InstaPivot tool is available. That's the one you can get into and learn about which products will be available in which states and which health conditions. Marketing for agents if you have downlines. Marketing for consumers so you can actually get consumers deals. So all the different things you need for each product, and when you go to products, there's product specific materials as well that are going to be invaluable to you. So everything you need to be successful is there. I will tell you this, I can't stress it enough. Your biggest ability as an agent is your availability, right? So make sure you get appointed, make sure you talk to your marketer who got you on this webinar and take that first step and come on our sales training webinars and find out that it's not too hard and you're not stepping too far out of your comfort zone to really help people with these plans as well. So check it out, contact your marketer. And I'm going to let you go today because I held you longer, but thank you so much for taking your valuable time today. We had a nice sized group. I appreciate it. And jump on another webinar with us. As a matter of fact, today at 3 o'clock, we have another one on the True Freedom training. So hopefully we'll see you on another webinar soon. And again, this is Tom Randall from GoldenCare. I want to thank you very much for jumping on this Integrity Short-Term Care Initiative webinar. Have a great day, everybody.
The next step is yours. Contact your marketer for more information and to start offering short-term care solutions to your clients. and be sure to sign up for our other short-term care hot topic webinars.